Have you ever wondered why the construction of the Panama Canal is considered among the deadliest engineering projects in history? Picture this: the late 19th century, an era of booming industry and burgeoning global trade. The world was shrinking, and the need for faster, more efficient routes for shipping was paramount. Enter the vision for the Panama Canal, a monumental project that promised to carve a path between the Atlantic and the Pacific Oceans, forever changing the face of global commerce. The strategic and commercial benefits were immense. The canal would eliminate the need for ships to navigate the treacherous Cape Horn route around the southernmost tip of South America, cutting travel time significantly. It would revolutionize trade, and the country that controlled it would command a vital gateway of global commerce. Yet the dream of the Panama Canal was not to be realized without great cost. The first attempt to bring this dream to life began with the French in 1881, led by Ferdinand de Lesseps, the man behind the successful Suez Canal. However, the challenges of the Panamanian jungle were gravely underestimated. The French faced a hostile environment, fraught with deadly diseases like malaria and yellow fever. The tropical climate, the dense, unforgiving jungle, and the rampant diseases created a deadly cocktail that claimed the lives of an estimated 22,000 workers. On top of this, the project was plagued by financial problems. The French had grossly miscalculated the cost and the complexity of the project. The Panama Canal proved to be a far greater challenge than the Suez Canal, and the financial burden soon became unbearable. After nearly a decade, the French endeavor ended in devastating failure. The dream of a canal through Panama died along with the thousands who had given their lives in its pursuit. But the dream of a canal connecting the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans did not die with the French failure. It was just the beginning of a deadly journey. In 1904, the baton was passed to the United States, determined to accomplish what the French could not. The Panama Canal project, a titan of engineering, was now in the hands of Uncle Sam. Yet, this was no simple handover, but rather a complex acquisition fraught with political, financial, and logistical challenges. Despite these hurdles, the United States wasn't deterred. With the vision of a waterway connecting the Atlantic to the Pacific, the strategic importance of the canal could not be overstated. It was a gateway to global dominance, a shortcut to the world, and the United States was hell-bent on unlocking it. The US government was well aware of the colossal task ahead. They had to carve a path through mountains, drain swamps, and tame rivers. The formidable Culebra Cut, a 9-mile-long mountain range, stood as the most formidable physical barrier. But this was a nation built on the ethos of manifest destiny, and they were not about to let a few mountains stand in their way. The American approach was twofold. First, they brought in state-of-the-art steam shovels, drills, and dredges. Unlike the French, who had attempted to dig a sea-level canal, the Americans decided on a lock canal, raising and lowering ships through a system of water-filled chambers. This was a more practical solution, but it was also a feat of engineering never before attempted on such a scale. Secondly, they focused on the welfare of the workers. They improved living conditions, provided better food, and even offered entertainment to keep morale high. They understood that the success of the project hinged on the well-being of the men who toiled day in and day out. However, as they moved mountains and tamed rivers, the United States was about to face a foe far more insidious than any physical obstacle. But the real challenge wasn't the mountains of rock and soil. It was the invisible killer lurking in the shadows: disease. In the tropical jungles of Panama, two deadly diseases, yellow fever and malaria, were waiting for their prey. The Panama Canal construction site was a harsh environment, not only because of the sweltering heat and the back-breaking work, but also due to these invisible killers. The workers, many of whom were immigrants from countries like Jamaica and Barbados, were unprepared for the deadly diseases they would encounter in this unfamiliar terrain. Yellow fever and malaria, both transmitted by the bite of an infected mosquito, were rampant in the jungles of Panama. Yellow fever, also known as the yellow jack, is a viral disease that causes fever, chills, loss of appetite, nausea, muscle pains, and the telltale sign, jaundice due to liver damage. Malaria, on the other hand, is a parasitic infection that leads to symptoms such as high fever, shaking chills, and flu-like illness. Left untreated, both diseases could be fatal. The conditions at the construction site made it a perfect breeding ground for the mosquitoes carrying these diseases. The constant digging and blasting created pools of stagnant water, where mosquitoes thrived. The workers lived in overcrowded, unsanitary conditions, making the spread of disease all but inevitable. The lack of proper medical facilities and understanding of these diseases only compounded the problem. The impact was devastating. Thousands of workers fell ill, their bodies weakened by disease, unable to continue the grueling work. Many succumbed to the diseases, their dreams of a better life drowned in the muddy waters of the canal. Despite this, the construction of the canal continued. The workers fought on, their spirits undeterred, their determination unbroken. They were building a marvel of engineering, a testament to human perseverance, even in the face of the most formidable of enemies. The toll was heavy, thousands of lives were lost, yet the construction pressed on. In the next scene, we'll explore how this incredible feat was finally achieved, how tragedy was turned into triumph. But for now, let's remember the invisible killers of the Panama Canal and the brave workers who faced them head-on. Amidst the deadly conditions, one man emerged as a beacon of hope: Dr. William Gorgas. This Alabama-born physician, a veteran of the Spanish-American War, arrived in Panama with a singular mission: to conquer the invisible killers that were decimating the workforce. Dr. Gorgas knew the devastating power of yellow fever and malaria, having witnessed their effects firsthand during his military service. His goal was to implement sanitary measures that would halt the spread of these diseases and protect the workers who were risking their lives to build the canal. Dr. Gorgas approached the disease-ridden landscape of the canal construction with a scientific precision. He understood that mosquitoes were the carriers of both yellow fever and malaria, and that eliminating their breeding grounds was key to controlling the spread of these diseases. His strategies were comprehensive, ranging from draining stagnant water bodies to fumigating homes and installing mosquito nets. But Gorgas's fight against disease was not just a physical one, it was a battle of minds as well. Convincing skeptical officials to invest in his sanitary measures was a task in itself. Yet, Gorgas held firm, backed by his unwavering belief in the power of preventive medicine, and his efforts paid off. The number of fatalities dropped significantly under his watch. Workers who had once lived in fear of falling ill now had a renewed sense of hope. Their morale boosted, they returned to their tasks with a vigor that had been absent in the face of the earlier tragedies. Dr. Gorgas's work in Panama was a triumph over tragedy. His efforts didn't just save lives, they transformed the canal project from a death trap into a viable endeavor. The workers could now see a glimmer of light at the end of the tunnel. They could believe that the completion of the canal was not just a pipe dream, but a possibility within their grasp. Gorgas's efforts turned the tide in favor of the construction, but the path to completion was still paved with hardship. Finally, after a decade of relentless effort and sacrifice, the Panama Canal was completed in 1914. A ribbon of water now bridged the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans, a feat that had cost the lives of over 25,000 workers. The toll was steep, the sacrifice immense, but the impact of this engineering marvel on global commerce was immediate and profound. With the canal's completion, the arduous and perilous journey around the treacherous Cape Horn was no longer the only route from the Atlantic to the Pacific. The Panama Canal shortened these voyages by thousands of miles, making transport faster, cheaper, and safer. The world had become considerably smaller, and the pace of global trade quickened overnight. But the canal represented more than a triumph of engineering over nature. It was a testament to the indomitable human spirit, to our capacity to dream big, to persevere, and to conquer. Yet it also served as a stark reminder of the human cost of progress. Each lock and channel, each mile of this 50-mile waterway was a monument to the lives lost, to the sweat and blood of the workers who toiled under the harshest of conditions. The legacy of the Panama Canal is twofold. It is a story of human achievement against all odds, a marvel of engineering that forever changed the face of global trade. But it is also a narrative of sacrifice and loss, of the price we sometimes pay in our pursuit of progress. Over a century later, the Panama Canal continues to serve as a vital artery of global commerce, a testament to the audacity of human ambition. Yet it also stands as a monument to those who lost their lives in its making, a somber reminder of the cost of their sacrifice. The Panama Canal stands today as a testament to human perseverance, a marvel of engineering, and a somber reminder of the price paid for progress.
Subscribe for more videos like this. Turn on notification and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.